day. Me's a day, me's a day, me's a day, me's a day, me's a day. Oh. A daylight come and me one go home.
One.
One.
I was going to do the one day only at the Bon Marché.
Freaking Bon Marché. Welcome to the Real Awkward Podcast.
Yes.
My name is Andy.
I'm Amanda. Ashley.
This is the best damn podcast you heard
Today.
And this episode is all about the horror.
Yes.
Okay, listen. Amanda, this episode cannot continue right now without talking about Beetlejuice.
Okay.
So I watched it recently and I got some stuff to say, but I want you to go first.
Okay. Here's what I'll say about it. If you are a fan of the show, you know that I'm really a hater on the really long-awaited sequels. I don't care for them. What I will say is I really enjoyed it.
Really?
I have some issues with it. I have some issues with it.
Okay.
But I think because I went in expecting dog shit.
Yeah.
I really did. I went in expecting I went in like, I'm going to probably hate this, but I'm going to see it because I love Beetlejuice. There were some plot points that I was kind of just like, okay, whatever. But overall, I liked it a lot.
Wow. We are on different ends of the spectrum. I'm just going to tell you that.
There's definitely some things that I can and have and will continue to pick apart.
Fair. Sure. Sure.
But I think also it was my point of view going into it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of was like, if I come out of this, and I saw no trailers.
Okay,
so
got it. Sure.
The only thing I knew was that the Maitlands were not in it.
Right.
You know what? I don't think we survived the crash.
And then obviously I knew that the dad was not in the film.
Yeah,
like the
Jeffrey
cast in the film.
Why is he not in it?
What was his name again? Jeff.
I don't remember what his name is, but he's creepy, and so they made the correct
Molester.
choice to not have him. But then
felon.
Yes.
But yeah, he was still included in the movie, and
Yeah,
I
he
was
was
still
still
just
there.
like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
So you talk to me.
Okay, so
Speak on it.
guys, if you have listened to the Real Awkward Podcast before, I'm just going to say right now, this is not spoiler free. I'm about to talk about a lot of stuff, so if you do
Has Ashley seen the movie yet?
Yes, we all watched it together.
Oh, okay.
So if I say something that will ruin it, please don't skip ahead 10 minutes, okay? Listen to that part of the episode. I went in wanting to love this movie. Beetlejuice is one of my favorite movies of all time. It captured this crazy charm that only Tim Burton could do in the first one. Michael Keaton was on point more so than I think he is in almost any other role. So when I went in, I had high expectations. That was my first problem, is I shouldn't have had expectations at all. This movie, in a nutshell, if Beetlejuice, the first one, to me is a 10 out of 10, this is like a 6 out of 10 for me. So I'm not going to say it's not entertaining in places, but there's a lot of stuff I would actually call hot garbage in this film. It really bothered me that they shoved way too many characters into this movie. They create Beetlejuice's ex-wife, who is a fucking awesome character. Her introduction is the coolest scene ever.
Beetlejuice!
What the f***?
And then they literally do jack shit with her. She literally she sucks a couple souls out and then gets eaten by a sandworm. It's like the saddest like character bad guy development that you could ever have in a movie, and they completely shit on Monica Bellucci's like character. So that sucks to me. Next is the Jenna Ortega character. Like, I feel like she didn't even need to be in the film. I feel like it was absolutely unnecessary for her to even be in the film. Yes, there was a catalyst with her and this boy, but that story isn't even flushed out. She meets him for like 10 seconds and then he like tries to kill her, and that was it. So that stuff bothered me. That felt like it was a plot point that absolutely didn't have any space to grow whatsoever. I loved that there was a Beetlejuice backstory. I hated that they presented it as like some dumb French film. Like, I couldn't handle some of this weird stuff. Like, Tim Burton's like, I used to be kooky, but now I'm crazy as fuck. Check this out. So there was like a lot of this, like, I'm trying too hard to be this Beetlejuice environment, this demonic kooky underworld that like didn't land for me. Some of the stuff where it would either be that foreign language sepia tone shit when they're talking about his history, and then anytime they broke out into musical, it did not land for me.
Thank you all for coming to this special occasion, but right now with like a little privacy.
Like, the end scene, the wedding, is absolutely a snooze fest for me. Like, I'm like, oh my God, this just needs to end, dude. It's not as fun or funny as the dinner scene in the first one where they take over everybody. The possessions are not interesting. They're not funny. The Beetlejuice baby thing is fucking weird to me, dude. Like, it happens and I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I understand the joke, but this baby's like gnawing on someone's leg. Like, it's a creepy ass baby. He impregnates in a dream Jenna Ortega's character. Like, it's fucking weird, dude.
That part was like,
it got weird. So like, that type of stuff didn't hit for me. The practical effects mixed with some of the stop motion stuff I thought was beautiful. That was awesome. But then Beetlejuice, who's literally supposed to be like your titular character, I felt was literally like plot number 4 in the whole thing. Like, it just seemed like a joke to me. And then Winona Ryder, I love her. I loved her in Stranger Things, but I literally felt like she was the character of Stranger Things playing Lydia.
I need you to help me save my daughter.
And how do I know that you're going to keep your word?
I swear on my dead mother's soul.
Like, it did not feel to me like it was Lydia from Beetlejuice. It felt like it was literally the Stranger Things mom. So there was a lot there. I thought that Dahlia, I always forget that character's name, the mother.
You mean Delia? That's Catherine O'Hara.
Catherine O'Hara, I thought her character arc from being a sculptor to now like an art, mogul or whatever you want to call her.
Artist,
I thought that was smart. I thought that moved like certain parts of the plot point. I liked that they had like a relationship. But aside from that, man, they threw way too much in there. There was not enough character development plot. And to be honest, most of the stuff just went too extra that I didn't think it landed to be funny. And I walked out of that theater thinking about it for a long time. Like, did I like it? Did I not like it? Did I like it? Did I not like it? And once I thought about it for like a couple days, I was like, that movie was hot garbage. I'm very sad about that film. So anyway, I got it out. I feel better now, but that's how I feel. That's how I feel.
I think that, okay, in a way, did you ever watch Dark Shadows?
No, but we've talked a lot about it. Yes.
So this movie reminded me a lot of Dark Shadows in certain ways when they like Tim Burton, same idea, where he introduces so many plot points, but really only pays off a couple of them.
Sure.
And then these other plot points just kind of like, we're done with that.
Right.
So they definitely, there was so many things happening all at the same time that you're like, wait, what the fuck? And then nothing happens with it. Like the preacher guy at the church was like a alcoholic for some reason. Like he was okay. And then he's like driving around in the middle of the night being kind of weird.
Yeah.
And then he picks up Justin Theroux's character and then he's like, what do you do now? And he's just like, oh, don't worry about it. Like, and they just like drive on. It's like that is how Tim Burton like treats these like side characters. Like, don't worry about it.
It's just stuff made me sad though. Like Justin Theroux's character didn't need to exist. Willem Dafoe's character didn't need to exist. Like all of this stuff was just like.
I loved Willem Dafoe's
I loved the character. I thought it was
loved
great, but he could not have existed, and the movie still could have been fine.
Fully.
Yes.
And so. Yeah, and I think you have to, it's hard because you go from the original Beetlejuice, which at its core is only a handful of main characters with a couple side guys.
Yes.
And in this one, it's like they're doing the couple main characters thing, but then it's like with a million side people thrown in. And so it's a lot. So not having the dad involved, I thought was a smart choice.
Yeah, you had to. Yeah.
But then having them all come together because he died, I was like, oh, sure, that works. Like, that's why they have to go back to the house.
Sure.
That's why this all goes back. That played for me.
Yes.
But then you're watching him walk around the Netherworld and stuff, and you're just sort of like, okay.
I'm needed upstairs. Bob, hold down the fort. Spill your guts. Who wants to go first? All right, I will.
And now Beetlejuice like works for the thing.
Yeah,
and it's
that
like,
doesn't make sense.
They don't explain that at all.
No, they don't.
And then honestly, Monica Bellucci's character was fantastic. The Bee Gees tragedy playing when she's like putting her body back together.
Right.
I really liked that.
Me
that
too.
part.
I was into
Danny DeVito as the little
Yes.
zombie guy was great. Yeah, and then like they were like, and some of the jokes were great where they're like, oh, she's a soul sucker. And he's just like, yeah, tell me about it. And like, that was funny. But then, yeah, there was no payoff with why she was even sucking the souls.
No.
I said to Chris, I was like, they should have done something with that. Like she
I
gets
agree.
stronger or something.
Yes.
And then
yes.
like, they basically set it up to have like 3 bad guys, but then all of them kind of all just like fizzled at the end.
Yep.
Because they had her and then they had the boyfriend, like the teenage boy.
Yes.
And as soon as you met him, I was just like, he's dead.
Yeah, I said
he's a
that to
ghost.
Ashley. We're in the theater, and I go, Ash. I go, he's dead, and his parents are dead.
Yes. Oh, the
Yes.
minute you didn't see the parents' faces,
Yes.
I was like, they're dead.
Yeah, they're dead. Yep.
So, that character, they're like, oh, he's a bad guy. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like, cool. Maybe he summoned the lady or whatever, right? Like
Right.
something.
Sure. Yeah.
And
a connection or something. Yeah.
Then there's like no connection between the two of them.
Nope.
And he somehow convinces her to give her life for his, which like, okay. But then like they go to like the underworld customs and it's like, okay. And then like, I don't know, just that whole transference was weird. And
Yep.
then it's like, okay, well, couldn't they just get married and then he'd be human again? Like,
yeah. it could
because
go
that's
the
how
oth-
Beetlejuice
the
wants
other
to
way.
come back.
Right.
Like, odd. And then
Yeah.
she can see ghosts, but not until right now.
Right.
then-
Right. Like it's been her entire life telling her mom she's full of shit, and then now
Yeah.
she's fine. Yeah.
And then, you knew you were going to see the dad at some point. And I
Yeah.
actually didn't mind the little bit with the dad. I was
See,
like, okay.
It's funny that you didn't mind it because I thought it wasn't necessary. I was like,
It
that's
was
not
not
necessary.
necessary.
Awkward.
Yeah.
They just
It
sat
was-
there like staring at each other for too long.
Yeah. It was, well, to me, I was just kind of like, okay, where are they going to shoehorn the dad in?
Sure.
And
Yeah.
I at least was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But then they like her dying and then now she was mortal again. Like they just kind of like, okay, he went to hell, you're good. And then like she leaves the
Yeah, dude,
underworld.
literally Beetlejuice gets to say the line that he wants to say where he says the F word and he pulls
Yeah.
the lever and the kid's dead. And then that was it. There was no battle.
Yes.
There's no fight.
And then
there's no.
they very, very conveniently make it right back up to the surface. And
Right after it's so difficult for them to get to the Soul Train anyway.
yeah. And then
Although that was stupid too.
then you have the whole scene in the church with the boy, like with Justin Theroux's character.
Yeah.
And like, you knew there was something else with him. You knew he was like weird in some way. And so the truth serum thing was like, oh, okay, sure. But then like having them both so easily get killed off by that sandworm was like, wow, like
Yep.
we just watched this woman kill whoever she needed to
Yeah.
get to him. just to be taken out easily by a sandworm was
Literally,
like,
if you blinked, you missed it.
yes.
Like, and you're like, oh, where did she go?
Well, and what makes me sad is that if you really
Yeah.
wanted a character arc, it would literally be that Beetlejuice now is good and not a bad demon. And he never went good because they literally had to kill him in the end. Like,
Yeah, well,
so-
and then the whole like, oh, well, you violated blah, blah, blah. And so your contract is null and void. I was like, that's convenient.
yep. There's a lot of
I
plot
kinda
devices
was
that
like-
twisted in.
Honestly, I kind of wanted them to get married. And then that would have forced them in the third movie to have Jenna Ortega like go save Lydia.
Well, so here's I love that you bring this up. So here's what I think should have happened instead, and I think this movie would have been a fucking banger, okay? I think that it should have been the same premise where this couple stuck in a house, so they have to ask a demon to come help them, right? In the first one. That's Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice causes chaos, but eventually like helps them out. And the story's fine. And then Lydia lives at the house, right? That's how it ended. Lydia lives at the house with the Maitlands. Like, that's how that fucking story ended. The new story needed to be that the Maitlands like passed on. That's fine, right? They figured it out. They moved on. But Lydia still lived in that house. And now Beetlejuice needs Lydia's help because he's stuck in the underworld. That's how that story needed to go, because then now Beetlejuice gets Lydia to come support him instead of the other way around. And now the entire thing can be in the underworld where they're having like these antics and this fun stuff, and then bring Monica Bellusci's character in, and him and Lydia alone get to defeat her. It didn't need to be a complicated story. It didn't need to have all these additional characters in it. It didn't need to like shoehorn and throw in all of this like, who's this is a twist, the dead twist, the boyfriend, the fiance, like Lydia and her having like a parental child issue, her having daddy issues. Like, there was so much to this story that was unnecessary. And if they would have just kept it simple like the first one, I think it would have been incredible, because you could have still used a lot of the same elements.
I think what was fun about the first one is like Beetlejuice is very quippy.
Ooh la la, what do we got here? The Maitlands, huh? Cute couple. Look nice and stupid, too.
So, like, the jokes are fast. We're moving on to the next one. All the gags that you're talking about, like the wedding scene, like in the church, and the baby, and I'm forgetting what else now, but like all of the gags went on for way too long.
Yeah.
And if they introduced too many people, too many storylines, and the gags they did do were really long, it wasn't a super long movie. So what was in the movie?
Right.
Like,
well, that's just it.
Yeah.
There's no real depth
There's
to
no
any
depth to it
storyline
at
or
all.
characters
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
The only reason we knew anything about Beetlejuice is because we got a first movie.
I will say they gave Beetlejuice more screen time, right? Because in the first one, he's hardly in it.
He's only in the first movie for like 17 minutes.
Yeah. So they gave him a lot more, which I appreciated, because people have an appreciation for Michael Keaton and his character, and I think wanted to see that. So that was great. Jenna Ortega, she's freaking Wednesday Addams.
Correct.
And she can't even play like a moody teenager.
Yes.
Like, she wasn't even that upset. She was just like, yeah, I hate that my mom's famous and my dad's dead. And like, but she wasn't even like, she wasn't even like depressed about it. She's
just
like,
apathetic.
Exactly. She's just like, I just don't like my mom for multiple reasons. Like,
no,
cool. Nobody
you're
does.
not wrong.
Like,
nobody likes your mom.
Well, my thing was like, she was like, she didn't believe that her mom can see ghosts.
Right.
And I'm like, I mean, she's obviously built a career out of it, but then you can believe that if she chooses to see ghosts, she can't see the dad.
I thought the twist was that her dad wasn't dead.
Oh, see, that would have been a cooler twist.
They were like, I can see everybody except your dad.
But why can't
and
you
then
see
if
dad?
she went to the underworld to try to find your dad, and then like they go to try to save her because they're like, your dad's not dead. Like,
that would have been incredible.
Been a better story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and
so
Chris's
sad.
whole argument was, he was like, his frustration was that they all just used Beetlejuice when they needed him.
Right.
and then shooed him away. And I was like, yeah.
Well,
And honestly,
well, that's
I
so
was
sad.
really bummed that Catherine O'Hara's character dies.
right.
That was very sudden too. It
Yeah.
was just like, oh,
That happens in like the
okay.
last 10 minutes of the movie,
yeah, she's
Yeah,
just like
well,
by herself.
but it's
nobody's
also
there, and, like,
random. Yeah.
okay.
Well, and then she doesn't. Everyone else, whether they're freshly dead or not, they look dead. They have the makeup and stuff that like
Yeah.
sinks their eyes in and stuff, and she doesn't look any different.
No, because she just has 2 snake bites.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
even Jenna Ortega, like in the customs line, when the transfer happens, like her eyes get a little deeper, and like she gets a
Right,
little more
yes.
gaunt.
I mean, she was
looking in her
already
face.
in costume. She was meant to look dead.
Yeah,
Fair.
but I feel like it was like more so. But I don't know. But
there were so many like convenient things that happened too. Like, okay, can maybe either of you can help me? Why were the snakes important to be the thing that killed her?
okay, so like back in the day, if you were like a widow, especially, but if your lover died,
Yeah.
like Cleopatra,
Yeah.
like killed herself with asps, which is a type of snake.
Okay.
And so she bought defanged asps online, and she was going to do some like art piece thing where they, she takes a video of herself like with the asps around her and stuff.
Okay. So,
But then-
She was just trying to be dramatic.
well, no, I
Yes.
get that, but the fact that you have to explain that to your audience is again too much, right?
I thought
Like-
it was.
No. That's what I'm
explained.
saying is that to have to explain it to your audience why you have those in the first place, rather than it being either nuanced or like hinted at from like a previous thing that happened in the last movie. Like I know it seems lame, but it would have been better if she got killed by one of her sculptures as a callback. You know what I mean? Like something like that would have made way more sense than just like the random snakes out of nowhere. So,
it was interesting.
I'm sad.
I liked it. I won't say that some people are like, "Oh, it's better than the first one," and I'm like, "You've never seen the first one all the way, then."
right.
Yeah, you saw it a very long time ago.
Yeah.
And no, I think you guys are exactly right. Where some of the stuff, like the baby thing and the wedding thing, I actually liked part of the wedding thing, but yeah, it was like it got to a point where I was like, "Oh, we're doing this entire song."
Yeah.
How can
right.
somebody
Oh.
give me a count on how many times they spun around?
Oh yeah,
Like that was the whole scene, is them just spinning.
Now I want to
Like-
say I don't want to just shit on the movie. Okay, set pieces freaking awesome. Them talking about how Lydia's father died, and it going to like a stop motion animation style, like in the plane, like that was super cool. The practical effects were cool. Going back into the underworld and seeing like the waiting room again, and like
Yeah.
seeing like Beetlejuice doing like some of the funny stuff that he was known for previously, going back to the shrunken heads, and now they're all workers like in
Yeah.
there.
Bob, you and the boys stand guard. Nobody gets through.
And I think it really was a detriment to how good the film could have been. And also Michael Keaton, way better as Beetlejuice in the first one. Like this one, it felt like he had less energy, almost like he had less control.
Almost like
over.
older.
yeah.
No,
I was gonna say. I
no.
mean, it's he's older.
No, but I don't mean that. I don't mean like less energy as in like he can't run like Indiana Jones.
No, but I think
like,
as
I
you get
don't-
older, like his demeanor has changed.
Sure, I
It's
get
hard
that.
to
You're
reprise
right.
that role after so long. It's like, oh yeah, let me think back 30 years ago. How did I like make this face? Like, I think that's hard to do.
There's just some times where he was like way more sporadic as Beetlejuice in the first one. In the second one, like Willem Dafoe's character comes up to him and he's like, "Don't want you to be killed by your wife," and he's like, "You're right, bub." Like, and like those types of conversations he wouldn't have had. He would have like made some type of quick or like funny remark. And so I don't know. There was sometimes that I found to me, he was too agreeable with other characters every now and again.
But that may
So-
have been a result of like trying to give him more screen time.
It's true,
Is like having
yeah.
actual
Yeah.
conversations.
Yeah. I mean, I guess developing him more if you could.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I go back to, I don't like that he was still a bad guy in the end. Like, I know that that's supposed to be true to his character, that he's supposed to be a bio-exorcist demon that just messes with people all the time.
But if there's going to be a third one, don't they need, like, you can't satisfy that yet.
Yeah, but even Tim Burton has literally said, I will not make a third one. I'll be 100 by then, so there's no way. He's like, I'm not, that was it. That's why there's no post-credit scene. Because he was like...
Tim Burton doesn't do post-credit scenes.
Yeah, but they also leave it open for the possibility of a sequel.
They just, and it was weird. It was a weird ending. I'm sorry. It was a weird ending, dude. I couldn't.
It would have been better if it just ended instead of the whole, like, Astrid growing up.
Yeah, I didn't need to see that.
Nightmare. All the nightmare.
Like,
she walks past a cosplayed vampire boy and then they fall in love. Like, what?
I was like, what is going on?
Yes, it was like The Hobbit when it needed to end and they just kept going. Or
I was at least like, oh, okay, at least that was all a dream sequence. Because like I was like, damn, that girl moved fast.
Yeah, that got weird. It did get weird. I don't know. I'm going to go back because there's so many people. When I read either review online or someone posts about it and they're like, I loved it. It was incredible. It was better than the first one. And I'm like, did we see the same movie? Like, I don't know why these things bothered me more, but then I go to like some posts and I see everyone say the exact same stuff. So I don't know where it actually lands yet. I think it's hitting really well because it was such a beloved movie as the first one. So I think people are like, I'm going to go see it. So it's going to get box office numbers, but I don't necessarily know where it truly lands in the quality frame, if that makes sense.
It's showtime.
Fair enough. I liked it. I absolutely do not think it comes close to the original, but I think for like a fun like addition to the story, I think there are parts that work and parts that don't. We took Lincoln.
Oh really? Oh
yeah.
My goodness. Okay.
Well, he loves the first one.
Wait, why did I say that? We took our kids. I said that as if
you took like... Remy, bitch. He's younger than Lincoln is. So Lincoln really liked it. The part when she starts putting her the Monica Bellucci starts like putting her body together. Yep. At first he was like, I'm scared. But then he was like, he's like, oh, she's like Frankenstein. And I was like, yeah. Right. And you know what scared him the most? The baby.
Oh, dude, the baby freaked me out.
He was like, is the baby gonna get me tonight? And I was like, no, baby, it is not real. Like, no. But the baby scared him, but otherwise he liked it. He liked Bob.
I mean, Bob was like, it was a likable character, and he doesn't say a word, right? Like,
no,
so,
he was just stupid. Like and then he liked the dad character, like Astrid's dad, because he had all the fish like wiggling in his body. Oh yeah,
the piranhas stuck on him.
And Lincoln liked that.
See, again, I'll go back. The practical effects, they were freaking awesome. They were great. Yeah. The one thing I want to know, Amanda, and I don't know this because I asked Ash, how did the hot dog or corn dog on a stick girl die?
Okay, I was trying to figure that out. Hot dog on a stick?
Yes.
I don't know. I wanted something more. Yeah, she's just literally standing there like,
Well, if there was a callback, the first one who was a prom queen slit her wrist, right? She lifts it up. I wouldn't have had my little accident is what she says. Yeah. And then I was waiting for something like some... Yeah.
I couldn't tell. Well, because like Willem Dafoe's character, his assistant had like a gunshot.
Yes. Yep.
And then like the other lady had like a huge javelin through her chest.
Yeah. She was she was a judge for the javelin competition. Javelin.
So they all had very like obvious reasons they died.
Yeah.
And no, she was the one that I was trying to like figure out, like, how did she die?
Yeah, I couldn't tell. I honestly, I wish it was like a vat of grease or something like that. Like
that's you want like half of her face to be burned or something.
There was cool practical effects, dude. Like when Monica Bellucci's like she's walking down the halls. There's like a guy in a hazmat suit that's like he
like melts.
And, Danny DeVito's character, like he died because he drunk poison all the time or cleaning chemicals and stuff like that, right? Like that stuff is super cool, like to get all of that. But do you remember in the first one, the guy sitting next to Beetlejuice, he has a chicken wing stuck in his neck?
Yeah, it's like sideways.
That's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see the corn dog on a stick girl with like a corn dog like stuck in her neck or something as like a fun
there was a guy in the waiting room that had he was like the hot dog eating.
Oh yeah, he had a bunch of hot dogs
his
stuck
mouth
in his
was crammed full of hot
face.
dogs. And there was another one who like had a shark on his leg or something.
Yep.
And well, like in the first one, there's like the girl who's cut in half, which they did have someone like in two pieces.
Oh, okay, okay.
But they the one I was hoping for, like in the first one they also had like the guy who was like smoking in bed and like he was like burnt to a crisp and then he's still smoking.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the thing that was missing in this movie for me was like a little bit more. I needed a little more morbid, a little more dark.
That's fair. Yeah, it almost felt like a cartoon the entire time.
Well, it honestly, and I think that's why I didn't mind it because I love the Beetlejuice cartoon.
Yeah, so maybe
and it
they were
kind of hit
taking
me like an episode of the cartoon.
Callbacks from the cartoon over the movie, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, me being such a Beetlejuice fan from the first one, I just wanted more. So my expectations were high. Is it a terrible film? Absolutely not. Is like I said, 6 out of 10. It's a good popcorn flick. You're gonna probably go. You're gonna have a good time. Maybe some stuff doesn't make sense, but you won't walk out of the theater like me and be upset about it. But I will say, it could have gone a bunch of different directions. They could have slowed down adding characters. They could have slowed down a lot of these plot points, and I think the movie would have landed better.
If it makes you feel any better, Chris hated it too.
Oh, sorry, Chris. That sucks.
And me and Lincoln were like, ah!
I mean, we walked out. Cam and Rim were like, my favorite part was blah, blah, blah. And like, so they enjoyed it too.
I think they were pretty indifferent.
I think
to it,
Ash
actually.
didn't mind it. Ash probably would put it like a 7 out of 10 or, 8 out of 10. I don't know.
6 or 7.
6 or 7. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to be honest, ladies. This is a full Beetlejuice review episode.
Okay.
I already gave my 6 out of 10. Amanda, where do you put it? Where's your rank?
Being that I went into it with 0 expectations.
Yes.
I wasn't even 100% other than like, the main people on the poster. I had no idea who was in it. I had no idea what it was about. I will give it a very generous 7 out of 10.
Oh, okay. We're not that far off. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think it's also because one of my favorite disco songs is Tragedy by the Bee Gees. So I started playing that and I was like, that's my shit. So I loved that whole scene.
I also rolled my eyes at the Soul Train stuff. I was like, come on.
I mean, I get the pun.
It's ha funny. I get it. But I didn't care about the dancing on the Soul Train. I was trying to read the sign of where the train goes. Did you read the 4 places it goes?
It
was like
the pearly gates.
Yep.
That's the only one I saw.
It was Pearly Gates, Great Beyond. I
think one was like the Afterlife. I don't remember.
Was it like Valhalla or something like that? Like something similar?
Yeah, a couple of them were delayed.
Yeah,
Yes.
they were all delayed.
Yes.
I think they were good places because they were all delayed except for the first one.
No, so I mean, I thought those types of things, like if I rewatch the movie, I would like to like try to find more of that stuff, if that makes sense. So
that's another thing that I didn't mention that I would talk to you about after we saw it is I didn't like how the first movie, it was very centralized to the house.
Yeah.
Like aside from like them going to the hardware store or her leaving her school, like you didn't see any of the town, right?
No.
Or much of it. It was pretty much just everything took place in the house, which felt like nice and cozy, like you were part of it, right?
Yeah.
But then this one, she was riding her bike around. It's Halloween. There's like
You're in other houses.
there's other houses. There's the church. Like this whole city that you never knew about. It gave a different feel. Like
It did. I agree to that.
Yeah.
I think it's less intimate.
Yeah, it was like
It's exactly what it was. Yeah. Well, Beetlejuice.
I can't believe I'm doing this. Beetlejuice.
And if there's a sequel, God help us. I don't know what's going to happen. Hopefully it either comes back around or we get something fresh. But I don't think there will be.
Daylight come and me want go home.
Yeah.
I was about to say bye-bye. Thanks, Amanda, for talking about Beetlejuice. Amanda,
Sure.
where can people freaking send me the worst hate mail? Because they absolutely love this film.
I mean, you know, it is what it is, man. You liked it, you hated it, whatever. Come hit us up at our Instagram at Real Awkward Podcast. We also have a TikTok at Real Awkward Podcast. Patreon.com, $3 a month gets you exclusive episodes. And that's it.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Nice fucking model. Hello, Real Awkward listeners. The Real Awkward podcast turns 3 this year. That's right, 3 years of fun, entertaining content for you guys, and we cannot do it without listeners like you. If you guys want to support the show, head over to patreon.com/Real Awkward Podcast for $3 a month that gets you access to exclusive shows, merchandise, and name shoutouts on the show. We also will take your suggestions for show topics. Thank you so much for 3 years, and we look forward to many more.